We are live. Howdy do.
Hi,
I need to have.
everyone.
I need a outro and an intro. I will never have one probably though. So how y'all doing? Hopefully you're good
Good.
out there. You're not buried under snow or wherever it is you are.
Eleanor says she's ready. She's got her PJs on, got a blanket and a drink. She's ready.
I got a blanket and a drink too. Let's go for it.
Your hiding blanket to hide your
This is my muffle when the laughter becomes a little too loud and out of control. Mind you, I usually live stream kind of late in the evening, so
Yeah.
and I am from the country, and so we can tend to be a little louder than necessary. So you know, that is one of them things. You gotta have a little muffle every now and then. It runs in the family. My brother has one too, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But I'm not alone.
Becca has company this weekend, so she's probably not joining us. People in chat.
So, any announcements, Jen? Anything you got coming up?
Tomorrow morning, I'll be on Jody Roberts' channel doing Sacred Sounds of Coffee. And just my website, if you want to book a reading, JennLynTarot.com. Or if you want to buy a gift card, same website.
Any announcements, Lena?
Not really, except I'm taking all my viewers to Greece and Spain in April.
Can't wait.
How good is that?
Do a reading while you're there. You have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least record it and then come back and upload it.
Yeah.
What part of Spain are you going to?
The south. So
Beautiful.
we're flying into Madrid and we're going to Granada and around there, which is
Awesome.
Andalusia. It'll be fabulous.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't think I have anything. Oh, next week or this week, Gregorian calendar. I will be on Sienna Rose channel on Friday at 7:30 p.m. where we'll be doing our non-political live stream. And I'm pretty sure there will be a post somewhere if you want to leave questions and things of that nature. And then that's it.
Cool.
So let's oh, Lord Jesus. Let's go in. Speaking of Jesus, let's go into the horror of it all.
Fran just said, "Thanks, Lena. I'll start packing."
There is a douche nozzle by the name of Senator Rob Standridge. He is from the great state of Oklahoma. And he has said that he was going to propose a bill, I guess he already has actually, that will fine teachers, mind you. We're not talking CEOs of Enron, teachers. $10,000 per occurrence if they teach anything that contradicts religion. Now, he did not say what religion, he just said religion. So, anyway, so I have a little something here. It's called Religious Belief Protection Act. And subjects like LGBT plus issues, evolution, the Big Bang Theory, and even birth control can earn you a fine of $10,000 per occurrence should you teach anything that goes and contradicts religion.
So no sex education.
And this is not
they don't do sex ed anyway.
for the school or the school district. This is a fine on the teacher out of their personal income.
See, this is the thing. What happened to the separation of church and state, which was the foundation of the American Republic? You know.
So
we came here. It's the whole reason we came here, so we could worship the way we want, if we want.
Yeah, exactly.
And the article also said over a month ago, the same senator introduced a bill to ban books with references to identity, sex, and gender out of public school libraries. So
it just makes me cringe. I'd like to laugh, but it's so not funny. You know, it's horrendous.
So will this succeed?
What state is it? Sorry.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. So, what was the bill in Oklahoma?
Don't inform people. You know, never mind, because that's oh, Jesus.
Yeah, where do you start with this sort of stuff?
The Bible is full of magical people, talking snakes. Like, you can't teach anything that contradicts such a thing.
That's right.
Snakes can't talk.
And also, this is what the Taliban does.
Yes.
Right? This is Taliban behavior. Nothing outside of the parameters of the heavily defined religion will be accepted. So I think it should be referred to as the Taliban Act.
They should call it the Sharia Law Act, because that's all
the Sharia Law Act. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gobsmacking.
So
yeah, they got a fight on their hands with this one.
Yeah.
Stuck in their mindset, running the little loop over and over, and but they do have people partnering on it. But the timing of offering this bill up is really bad. They're going to be out in the cold on it. I get the governor is out in the cold. People are going to get quite emotional. There'll be a lot of conversation about it, but I get it. It's burdened. It loses. I got the Queen of Cups here. I think she's representing the teachers for some reason, like trying to keep a lid on it. They're not having it. They're not having it, and they feel bullied. So I expect that's a no. No.
Yeah.
No.
Will I go, Johnny?
Yes, ma'am.
It starts off quite peacefully with the message. I'm not sure which side this is representing, but I'd venture to say the sane side, because this is the quiet, considered messenger is just pushing back, because this would be absolutely catastrophic. I mean, seriously, wretchedly awful. I think reason will win out in Oklahoma, and presumably it won't go ahead. But young people might take up the fight against it too. I would like to think so. And push back on this sort of mentality and this sort of thinking. If they want to send their own long-suffering children to a religious school and feather someone else's nest, that's one thing, but not the state system. It can't, surely.
I start with the moon. There's some hidden treachery here. Mind you, pardon my soapbox, but I have to get on such a thing. As a preacher myself, this bothers me. Not even take for just a moment. Take the educational part out of it and the assault on teachers. The people who do the most damage to the reputation and image of God, in my belief, are religious people. Because when the outside world, the people who might believe in a higher power but don't really necessarily narrow it down and may be looking for an answer or two, they see these type of people and they think, if that's what God is, I don't want it. And thus ends their spiritual journey right there, until maybe they come across another person who is a little more enlightened and a little softer in their approach. But those are the people like him, like the Copelands, that get on TV. Those are the images of God you see. You see greedy people. You see hateful people. You don't see the loving people. You don't see all of those type of, like, this is the thing that bothers me the most about religious people, is they do more damage to God than the devil or anybody ever will. But it starts with the treachery, the unknown, separated. There is no success for such a thing. It ends there. However, they will continue. The devil, they are somewhat out of balance.
Just a little.
Tiny bit.
The problem here is not that he proposed such a thing, is that he was of the mind to do so in the first place, which means he's still of the mind to do so. It's kind of like the little Capitol rioters. You can lock them up, but they still have that same mentality. Where's the reform?
Oh, you mean the travel people?
The tourist, yes. Excuse me. But yeah, this doesn't win because why would it? I mean, tell me a teacher you're going to get $10,000 per occurrence out of it. I mean, they break their banks buying school supplies for their children in the class. So, and again, this is not coming out of the school district nor the school itself. It comes out of the teacher's pay, but it goes nowhere.
Mimi says, take us to church, Johnie.
Jesus, these people. So let's look in on the January 6th commission. How are they doing? Can we get a checkup? See the progress, the regress, the ingress. How's it going?
They're getting more documents from Pence after his little announcement last week.
It's got to be, I mean, Trump alone in documents is in the millions. This has got to be the hardest job anybody's ever had.
Oh, look. Here, you just take this 500,000 home and let me know what it says tomorrow. I mean, how do they handle this volume?
God, dog. I'd have bags under my eyes like elephant ears. They just, I mean, it's like, how are they doing?
By the way, I heard they may start televising hearings in April.
Oh, I thought it was February. Is it going to be April?
I think it may be like towards the end of March into April.
Oh, okay.
What you getting, Lena?
Well, in the bang in the center, I've got the judgment card, and in this deck, it's a very yeah, good. It's a very Zen card. In other words, they're still at the center. You know, all the spokes may be crazy, but it's got a really solid center. But also the aspect of judgment. They have to be backed by the people. You know, they need that feedback. Underneath, we've got the Page of Wands. I think this represents hearing from more people and more people and more people. Behind, we have Biden. And so I think he's pretty hands-off the day-to-day running of this committee, by all means. But he represents what is good and what is sane. So that's his role underpinning it, you know, giving them every resource they could possibly use. On top, Empress, they might find some new things. It's going to keep going. It's like, it's one of those you actually have to draw a line in the sand at a certain date and go, they might have done another 47,000 other things, but we're stopping here, you know, and just have another committee that does that into 2036. But it's expanding here in the next little while. And also it's on top of my reading, so it's like, it's giving the bigger picture. Then two mysterious cards in a way, Nine of Wands, which I hope means it translates into jail for relevant parties, but it finishes with the Mother of Cups. So we have the father and mother, and so I think that's nurturing it through its process. That's how I see it. It's doing all right.
Yeah, I get they're going to get more and more people cooperating with them, like working with them. This is my card for America, covered by judgment. What they've got will help people like understand everything that's going on. They'll look at it from a different perspective, and a lot of surprising things coming out. All the treachery, all the treason and everything, I get that information they're holding very, very close to their chest. They're not letting a lot leak out about what they've got.
There's been no leaks,
Yeah.
which is extraordinary, seeing how many people are involved.
They've gotten on TV and said, oh, and here's some emails we got, you know. Or
It's released, not leaked.
So I get they're ready to broadcast pretty much. They're just waiting for, you know, just the right time here. They still have some unfinished work because there's still more people coming forward and whistleblowing. I get it's like steady flow of information. They have to take it all in, but the truth is, you know, coming out. There will be a lot of new investigations that come from this. There's going to be a lot of famous people that we know about that are exiting their jobs, I get. And I kind of get like around the time of the hearings, emotions might run a little bit high. So watch out for the oath creepers and peanut butter boys to try to start some other fighting, stampeding the Capitol or something. Kind of watch out for that, because there's some emotions that are going to run high around this. I'll leave it at that.
So how are they doing? I get the Ace of Swords first card, and then the Four of Cups. A lot of information, a lot of clarity, a lot of stuff coming through. This is, again, I mean, break out the coffee. And keep it going. I know you may not want to, you may be tired, but hey, this is your reality now. Consider it a service to your country, because it technically is. Because we are trying to get to the bottom of the terrorist who attacked all of y'all. So this might be something you just suck it up and do. They also are not completely satisfied with the amount of information they're getting from everyone.
Yes, exactly.
With that Four of Swords and the Ace of Swords, or Four of Cups and Ace of Swords. So everybody is not giving the same amount of information or healthy information, something that leads to something better. However, with that Four of Swords, there is your sort of resting on your laurels. You don't really want to give up everything at once, but the sun does illuminate even when you don't want it to. You cannot hide from its rays. And then there's the Queen of Swords. Somebody is going to be compelled, and I think we might have a little bit more of this. Send me a subpoena and I'll talk to you. Like, I just need a court document that said I had to. I don't want to be seen as a person who is just, you know, so eager to come give you all my information. Give me a court document, something legal, something binding that says I have to come talk to you, and then I will tell you the truth. There's going to be a lot more of that compelling thing, but again, the sun, illumination, don't fight the sun, you can't. King of Wands, King of Cups. There are some men here who are going to have to give up information. Two of them, at least. I wonder if it's boy one, boy two, but still, there are some two men here that are going to have to give up some information. And I say have to, because the Four of Cups is something you don't necessarily want to do, but you do have to do it. So you have to submit to your reality. I don't know why you're compelled, but there you go. There is some wrestling with other Republicans, people who are also in the government, somebody who is supposed to be on the same side. So I know they have censored Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. So the Republican GOP party have censored them, and so forth and so forth.
And also claim January 6th was about political discourse.
Political, yes. Anything to say other than terrorism. Because if it was a group of brown people, I'm not even saying black people, brown people with funny sounding names who had turbans on their head or something of that nature, they would be terrorists. Even if they were born in Ohio and New York, they would be terrorists. But they're, since they're Cletus and Cletus Jr., now all of a sudden they were tourists. Anyhow, the Eight of Swords, and then I clarified it with the Justice, Hierophant, Eight of Wands. They got their nose to the grindstone. They're sort of trapped in this, which is not a bad thing. It's kind of where they want to be. It's where they need to be. But they are making progress. Things are happening. You will see a lot more. Well, take this with a grain of salt, because I don't want people to jump for joy and start, buying up the birthday cakes. You will see a lot more justice being handed out. But do keep this in mind. This is not necessarily high-profile people. It's just justice being handed out. So you may see a few more sentences for the rioters. That type of thing. You'll see a lot more of that. So I'm not saying that, Tucker Carlson's going to jail tomorrow. I'm saying that justice is still moving. So do be encouraged on that, though.
Okay.
So with all of that said, how is Biden holding up as a person? Not as a president and all that, as a person. How is he holding up as the president?
Let's say his health, his well-being.
Is he all right?
Is he all right? Well, will I kick off? Okay. His first card was the moon, and he's a Scorpio. He's got very deep ties with moon and water and all those deep things. So in this case, I think he's holding up okay, because right next to it, he's got the Empress, which I think is Jill Biden. But this is also, it represents a bit of a struggle, the moon, because here he has the Six of Wands. This is doing a traditional tattoo. And in other decks, the leader's card. This is the pain of being a leader. So that's why I think he's got some considerable emotional pain around being a leader in this time. I don't think we can just pretend it's all fine. It'd be enormously difficult, because he's working alongside and around the devil. This is, and from his religious perspective, he's dealing with this sort of duality, I think, of how do you reason with these people who are pure evil and irrational and stuff. So I think that weighs heavily on his mind, but outcome, he'll be okay for now, short term. He pulls himself together. She's looking after him as well as humanly can be done for a man of his age and the stress he's under, and his brain is all right. He's capable of making these big decisions. Okay, so that's me.
Yeah, I get he's like, having to dance a little line a little bit. He's worried a little bit about his image, getting attacked a little bit, but he's thinking very clearly. He's just feeling a little stuck because he can't move forward with a lot of things he has on his agenda, but he's still very hopeful. He's still going to keep pushing it. And I get he's got another new bill he's going to push forward to try to help the impoverished. He's pretty much done with the Republican Party. He's given up on them. He knows there's nothing else he can do with them, but he's trying to stay very open and honest about what's going on in the White House. He's very big on transparency. he's just grieving that they can't work across the aisle. He's not satisfied with all the corruption still that he's looking at too in the government, and he's not happy about COVID, like the people that aren't getting vaccinated, I get. But he himself, he's still talking. He's still got all his faculties. He's got all the tools he needs to do his job. And he's looking forward, I get, to changing the Supreme Court here.
Happy birthday, or belated birthday, Leah. I get 2 of Wands in justice. So strategy, balance. The great thing about his position is he doesn't have to do it alone. So it's not one of those type of things. He does have people around him, even if they're just his family, that will keep him grounded, that will keep him from, just dashing out the door, even though that's not his personality, but strategy is what's needed, and he does have it. He is balanced and grounded as well. Thank you, Patty. And there also is an aspect of faith that is also with this balance and grounded, that even in the toughest of times, he still knows how to center himself and pray. So him personally, he will be all right. His position is the rest of this. And I was trying to sort of go just more into his mentality. How's he doing? It's like, okay, he's fine. Here's what's next.
That's what my cards did too. It's like he's got stuff he wants out.
Because his challenge, and this is kind of one thing that drives me nuts about the U.S., is we're under one federal law, sure, one constitution, I guess you should say, but we have 50 different countries.
Yes, absolutely.
You go across state lines and they do something completely different, and the rules have completely changed. But his worldwide, because domestically, he's okay. Worldwide is a whole nother thing. There's the world, 3 of Wands, and the devil. This is where the challenge to every president comes in, and everybody has a problem with every president's foreign policy. Always. I don't care what Democrat, Republican, whoever, the foreign policy of that president is always a problem. So that is an issue, and especially when he has the players he has now with the Jong-uns and the Putins and the Xi. There you go. Just like Jenn said as well, there's a lot of failed talks that he has to continually walk away from. Thank you, Esso. He has to completely walk away from these talks just to have to come back again and redo it. Because even though it failed, you still have to come back and talk to them same 2 people. But there's a lot of stress, a lot of strain. He's the president. So battle weary, battle worn down, stressed out. With the 10 of Wands, though, for those of here who are in the tarot class, we have covered many a times about the 10 of Wands. It is a warning card in a way. That is not effective. You cannot carry those wands like that forever. They will fall and you will have to continually pick them up. This is actually a better way to do so.
Yeah.
Bind them together and carry them as one. Don't bend over and try to spread them out in this fan business.
And try and hold them together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is stressed, he is strained, but the 10 of Wands is your reminder to maybe let them drop and then figure things out, re-strategize this. That way it's not an actual burden anymore. So we go back to here with the strategy. So he's got it. He is going to actually be, I think, just personally, a good president. Thank you, Sue, because he is not afraid of strategy, and it ends in the King of Swords. So he's not afraid of strategy. My only thing is just make sure that you don't try to do everything yourself and know when to give up. If you cannot talk to Cinema and Mansion, try to find a way around them.
I was just thinking, if I had to sit with Mansion and Cinema as many times as he has, I think I would like lose my lunch every day.
I mean, I wouldn't be president long, that's for sure. Okay, so let me get some detail.
Sese just said fire all of his Democrat strategists that still use the old 1985 playbook and get new people in. That's true too. Because actually we forget. A viewer sent me a wonderful list of all Biden's executive orders and things he's put in place, particularly around green issues. And I'm buried in US news every day, and I didn't know half of them. So they're really bad at the things they are good at. You know what I mean? At putting it out there.
Even, his economy is doing so well, and the jobs and creation and everything, and yet they just don't tout it enough. And these Democrats, when they're going to run, for the midterms, they need to make sure they're touting, like, look how strong our economy is, and compared to where it was under Trump. Trump was the worst our economy probably had been in
8 years.
Bush.
But he's stopped the gas line. He's poured billions into green things, and
Creating
who
jobs.
would know?
So, speaking of new people, the New York City mayor, Eric Adams, he is new. I have a couple of questions on him, but one of them is Bill de Blasio, before he left, he had put into place, how many people was it? Thousands, it said. Thousands of people will be fired in New York City if they do not get vaccinated by February the 11th. And so Eric Adams has the opportunity to let that bill go and say you don't have to be vaccinated, you won't lose your job. So far, he has said he is keeping that in place. And so this is for city workers and people who New York City is responsible for. So how will this work out? Will the people actually, some of them at least, the majority, go get vaccinated, or will literally thousands of people lose their job?
One of the worst hit
Okay, so this is in the context of New York. New York municipal workers, fireys, police, nurses.
One of the worst hit cities in the pandemic. I can't say that I blame them for sticking to their guns and being tough.
Not New York. Adams. Sorry, running sloths saying, please stop criticizing Dems constantly. Look, I take your point, but it is also important to vent some of the frustration. And we only say it because we want them to do really well. And they're achieving all this stuff, and we're not hearing about it. No.
That's right. We can't put our blinders on. We have to stay open to opportunities.
Don't want to live in the echo chamber.
That's right.
And hire some young people to put it out on different platforms,
Get more Katie Porters and whiteboards in there.
Oh, I'm not sure what to make of this.
Me either.
Okay. Will I start?
Yes, sure.
Now, it kicks off with the death card, which isn't surprising because who can forget, the images we saw in the early days of the pandemic and everything else. So it's very real to New Yorkers. It might be a bit more unreal in other places, but I'm sure it's really real. The Chariot, which I think is the legislation coming forward. 3 of Pentacles in the work, people working. How does this legislation impact those workers? And then there's the 6 of Cups, which is a sort of, in other decks, nostalgia, and in this it's called pleasure. So that's why I was a bit mystified by it. So maybe it's next to the work card. Maybe it's to do with work and play. People have to be protected at work and when they play, sort of thing. Outcome, Dominion, the 2. I think he will go ahead with it. So.
I think he will too. I have unfinished work on the bottom. Like de Blasio started this. I think he's going to see it through. This will be his legacy. And he has looked at other options, I get. He has slept on this, thought it through. But, all through his transition into being the mayor. But he's got people, like-minded people that are joining him. I think he will push, to see this through, and he'll keep talking about it. I get the justice card. He's very anxious about the death toll that they've had, in New York from the pandemic. And basically, the ones that aren't happy about this, he's like, I'm moving forward. Come on. We have to do this. We have to do it. And he's concerned also about, the medical profession. The King of Cups for me shows up for doctors, and we're wearing out all our medical people.
Mm.
Yeah, I get there might be there's a little issue with the carrying out of the firing process part. It's going to cause a lot of negative press, but he is still on track to do so. Knight of Pentacles, the plan's going through. Five of Wands, Knight of Cups. This does not have the desired result, though. So this is going to cause a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, okay, you do it or you don't. Yes, that is technically what it is. Like, you still need to follow through. But at the same time, there will be backlash, and I get the King of Cups as well with the Magician. So we do have some medical input, a lot of expert input as well. He goes through with it, but this is going to cause more anguish.
It's a problem because I'm beginning to think, because we've had severe lockdowns and everything else, I'm beginning to think we've missed that window for mandates in a way, and now it's a huge political risk, doing it when maybe we're past the peak, hopefully, and it's about living with it. So I feel a bit like this about...
Especially after the Supreme Court ruling about mandates. It's like, it looked like they were supporting them until that last ruling where they're kind of like, no, you can't force things on people.
Yeah. So, I'll just...
I mean, I
want to be in public office now. It's just as well someone wants to be, I suppose.
Yeah, I can see, well, Gemini mine, I guess. I can see both their arguments. Like,
yes,
don't make me stop with the forcing of the things, but at the same time, we do need to get this under control at some point. Like, I mean, you are the people I can force because you work for the city. I can't tell everybody else to go get vaccinated. You are the people I can force. You have been vaccinated in your younger years for everything else in the world.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, anyway, but we're going to be on Mr. Adams one more time here. I got a couple of stories here.
By the way, I'd love to be in Congress right now. I would get behind the door to the House and watch for Marjorie Taylor Greene getting ready to come in, and I'd bam the door into her.
Or stick your foot out.
So a couple of stories have come out about the New York City mayor that are in the negative, and so he is sort of new. He's not new to the scene because he's been a player in New York for some time. They had a contentious run, they say, but one of the stories that has just come out, this is back in 2019, a video surfaced of him using a racial slur to white people. He called them crackers. So he said, but he said it about police officers.
Yeah.
He said, I would take it to those crackers' ass or something like that. So that looks bad, of course, as the New York City mayor. When he got in, he gave his brother a very, very $2,000 and $40,000 a year high-paying job in the New York City Police Department. And then when the backlash happened, then he rescinded the offer. Now the brother doesn't have it. So he sort of came in with some nepotism. He also is sort of dining out at this restaurant that is owned by a guy who pled guilty to fraud. And he's like one of his cohorts, his best friends, or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of little stories like that are coming out. And also, he wanted to head up the, what do they call it? The mental health office there in New York City with a preacher. And that preacher is a person who is very anti-LGBT. And so he rescinded that offer from that person as well.
I'm
So
totally
he's not-
convinced you can't find an honest politician in New York.
It's like,
And I think further afield, I think you'll find. Yes.
thank you, Cold Tones. So he's not coming in with the greatest of momentum. But what I want to know is he on the up and up, or does he have
Yeah. Or
Maybe
will all
yes.
these things
Yes.
drag at him? Yeah. And his name again?
Eric Adams?
Okay. So can he shrug this off and move forward?
I'd hate to be held accountable for things I said in the past.
I am so glad there weren't phones when I was in my 20s. I tell you what.
Well, back in the old day, we did hold our politicians accountable, but no more. Say anything you want, lie all you want.
So the brother and the nepotism and the anti-gay preacher and the like.
Yeah.
Your best friend just got out of jail for fraud. It's like-
Yeah. It starts to add up. Oh, dear. Well, as you can probably tell from my reaction, my cards aren't marvelous for Eric. Nothing against him personally. However, it kicks off with the failure card, right? Oh. The hangman, he might hang in for a while. Followed by the 10 of Wands, oppression. This would suggest it'll all get too much. I don't think it necessarily means these things. We could be talking in a year or two or something. I don't think this is all going to unfold before summer or something, but I think it will unfold and he'll decide it's too much. He might not complete his. Do they have terms, or what do New York mayors have?
Yeah, they have terms too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's me. I hope you guys have some better cards for young Eric.
Well, I get he's got some other new inspiration. He's gonna try to appear as the beloved and inspired and nurturing and supportive mayor, but he's got an abundance of issues coming out about him. There's more going to come out about him. His past is going to haunt him, so his wall is a little thin.
Yeah.
I do get he moves forward successfully and slowly, but there's another corrupt person that he's going to have to cut from his administration. He's going to have to sacrifice him. There's somebody else that's not balanced, that's working within the administration, that is also going to have to walk away. This person has something to do with steady money in New York. So taxes or finance or something finance related. He will offer the job to somebody else as sort of a charity thing, like, oh, I'll do this, they'll like this person, so he's going to offer a job to somebody to try to gain some benevolence. But he's going through a lot of changes and he's going to learn as he goes. That's all I can say.
A lot of very stressful and strenuous changes with the death and the 9 of Wands. That man is there. Yeah, whoever that is, he spells trouble, and he is also a problem, or is a person who is causing some of that strain. Got him away. Your past will haunt you. And it's going to, I mean, that's what the cards say, but still.
Oh, here's a good story from Super Truthful. I live in Brooklyn and he worked hard for us. So, yay, that's
Good.
at
There
the
is
end of the
something in
day.
his past that is going to hit him seemingly out of nowhere. However, your past is known to you. You lived it before. So it shouldn't be such a surprise, but it just may hit hard, whatever it is. There is something in the past that has to do with finances and a very, very large sum of money or a network of people with a lot of money. So I think it's the company you keep. It may not be necessarily, you might not be Trump, of course, but the company you keep, change it if I was to advise you. But you
Johnny,
do you.
you're being asked, what deck did you just use?
Black and Gold Tarot is what it's called, or
What's it
Tarot
called?
Black and Gold Edition.
Okay.
Okay, Lord Jesus, let's go here.
Yeah.
Dustin Thompson is one of the tourists turned rioters that he. Okay.
I need a different deck. Hang on.
He's in court, and his lawyers on his behalf want to subpoena Donald Trump to come testify in his case, because his defense is Donald Trump made me do that. And so how would that go for him? Will he actually compel the testimony of Donald Trump in his case?
Oh, here's an Indian proverb. What was it? Tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are. Someone said Brooklyn and the city are like two different countries. It's like he moved to Japan. Thanks for your comments, guys. So, will we be allowed to subpoena the Yeti?
Okay.
Oh, Lordy. Okay. What are you laughing?
It's like sometimes the cards are literal. So
Well, I think this is going to become a legal question. And it's probably the first time it's officially being asked, but you can imagine how many others are thinking about this. And didn't Hillary have to testify endlessly? I mean, he is a civilian now.
Mm-hmm.
But, so the Six of Swords, I think this isn't his lawyer's idea, per se. I think the defendant has come up with the idea and the lawyer's going, I'll get back to you on that. I think the lawyer's getting advice too about this. There's a Seven of Wands, which is creating a defense. It's like, this is actually really important. This aspect of this case is really important, even to quote your T-shirt, Johnny, even if eventually the answer's no. the process is important
Mhm.
to officially say, well, why shouldn't he? And have people have to discuss that. Wheel of Fortune, at this stage, I'd say it could go either way. We're not talking about the Yeti turning up. We're just talking about issuing a subpoena. Right. Now, the big judges must be talking about this, just waiting for this case, knowing they'd have to rule on it at some point. And I pulled a clarifier, excuse me, from my other deck, thinking deeply about this, the legal eagles. So I don't think it's dead in the water, but I don't sort of get a vibe it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm getting kind of a mixed thing too. Thank you, Joanne. Queen of Coins on the bottom. Like, let's get practical. Let's get down to earth and practical.
yeah.
8 of Wands, wanting him to talk. 2 of Wands, trying to get that plan going. The Fool card in this deck is known as the Seeker. And the Seeker is actually getting a little bit nervous about this because it could, if wishes are granted, there's going to be more people that pull this in court. I get he rejects the offer to come and the invitation to testify. They're going to have to change strategies on this. And because Trump's, trying to protect his image and everything. I'm getting that, when the time is right, this is going to blow up bigger, but I think in a higher court. Like, there's more.
Yeah, I do too.
Done. King of Wands, like it's going to go to another court. But what's interesting is the last 2 cards, 10 of Swords, which is usually the guy stabbed in the back. It's a guy like he's got his ear to the ground, like he's listening for a train.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to listen for the rumbling, and this is actually a judgment card evolution. So it's like something new. So this is going to come back up again. This is end of a cycle. This is something new coming out again. So he's going to wrap it up in the court system like he does everything. They're going to have to keep going and going to higher court just to push him to testify.
Mm-hmm.
I get the Queen of Cups and Empress. This was not the first tactic. And so they probably sat at a table and said, okay, what is our defense? Because we have another question on him because he is actually pleading not guilty. So this is not the first tactic. They've birthed many ideas. Then there's the Fool and Judgment. Now, in the Bible, it says in the winter, because there's your ice, in the winter, the sea will give up their dead. So this is your scene and your depiction there. You can hold me to this if you want to, because take it with a grain of salt, though. It feels like, and I don't really care for that terminology because feelings are subjective, but it feels like the Fool will have a testimony at some point, if it's just on his behalf, that can be used for somebody else's case. I don't know how that works. Don't ask me. But something returns and it gives up information. So it's like something he did once comes back for the benefit of something else. So they pull testimony out of that. But for this little boy right here, the devil and the hermit, the devil is hiding. So no, you're not going to get Donald Trump to come to your bake sale.
That's right.
It's just not going
And
to
Sissy
happen.
Ryder makes a good point. A defense lawyer won't put anyone on the stand unless they know what they will say, and Donnie won't.
Donald Trump doesn't know what he's
blame
done.
the defendant. So that's why I think, Sassy, that's what I was picking up on the beginning. This didn't come from the defense lawyer in the first place. It's not a typical strategy. But they're thinking, why not ask the question and make someone else make the decision?
So what's going to happen to old Dustin Thompson? Because he is pleading not guilty because he said it's Trump's fault.
What did he do?
He was one of the rioters.
Right. But did he assault police or?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
because that's how he made it basically to the front page, because he actually did he did assault someone.
Oh, he might be the guy who had the pipe or something. And
But Trump made him do it. The devil made me do
The
it.
devil made me do it. Medusa made me do it.
Oh, I can't.
what's going to be the outcome?
And thank you, moderators, because there's a lot of comments that are being like held by YouTube. So there's a lot of work I've got to do. Thank you very much. And thank you, Lisa, for reposting the question too.
Hmm.
Thank you, Sally.
Well, I think for this guy, it starts off okay. So, Two of Cups, the defendant himself feels things are going okay, it'll be all right. And then very smartly, boom, boom, boom. The Nine of Wands, the strength of the system starts to overpower him. I think this reading is very much through the eyes of this guy, and the system overpowers him. And then the Princess of Discs. I mean, look at this. I mean, all the antlers start, just really hemming him in. Outcome, death card. Meaning, just reminding everyone, not literal death, but the end of one whole cycle of life, that would be freedom.
I start out with Ace of Coins. He's got an opportunity to get real here. Queen of Swords with the courts, with the judges, everything. Interesting. I've got that Ten of Swords again. Like, instead of being stabbed in the back, he needs to listen to the rumblings that's going on in other cases.
Mm-hmm.
The Moon card, it almost looks like a circus act in here. Like he's, just keeping the dogs up in the air, trying to keep the dogs at bay. He needs to be learning, because I'm getting the court's going to take an action on him big time. He may lie about something.
No, surely not.
I think it may have to do like something about money. I think he's going to get investigated on something else, not just assault and battery. I'm getting there's a money connection with this guy. Something surprising coming up. And he's going to have to evolve his case somehow, because I get the death card. Something's going to change in his case. I love this. 5 of Swords in this deck. It looks like a woman, with a knife getting ready to stab him, the winning at all costs. He's going to get bullied into something. He's doing a lot of things to get attention. Instead, he's sliding down a greasy pole. It's a slippery slope you're sliding down, dude. The 8 of Cups, there's something not finished. Like, there's something else that's going to come up on him. But interesting, this 8 of Cups has the Tower on it. It's just not falling down. It's like, get ready, the Tower's going to fall on him. And then instead of the death card, I have the 4 of Swords, which is laying on the coffin here. He's going down. He's going to be spending some time in jail. But there's something else coming up about him around money.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another question then, because I got it too.
Like he's paying for his lawyers or something. There's something about money around him.
I did 2 spreads because the first one didn't answer me. It starts with the 10 of Cups and the Moon. There is a family issue here, or a community of people issue. He may be a little more connected to something that is a little more treacherous with the Moon, that may be trying to hide something, hide a connection. First of all, Donald Trump can't make you do anything. You're a whole grown human being. So you can't use that as, you can use it as your defense if you want to, but I would not suggest it. But there's something else that he is connected to. I don't know if he's part of one of these little groups like the Goofy Boys and all that stuff, but there's some other little thing there. 3 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. You work for someone, but it is a very tight-knit group of something with the 3 of Pentacles and then the 8 of Pentacles. You work for a group of someone. Those someones may be treacherous with that moon card. They probably helped plan this thing or whatever the case may be, but you work for some little group of somebody, and there's going to be a money investigation or a money connection that you're not going to enjoy. If it hasn't happened already, the Fool and the High Priestess, Donald Trump don't know you at all.
Well, Johnny, I think you answered one of the questions here. Sarah,
Thanking me, myself.
Free will. Oh, Pat McBride. Do brainwash people have free will?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's
These
how
have
they got
bad judgment
brainwashed. Yes.
These have very bad judgment skills now. But I asked again, I'm like, what's going to happen to him in this case? 4 swords, 10 of swords is how it ends. There's ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. You were there. You were caught. That's how they got you. The FBI database has over 700 people in it. You were one of them. And so.
And the other mistake he's making is pleading not guilty.
Yes.
Because when it
Taking no
comes to
responsibility.
sentencing, that's when they kick your ass.
Yeah, taking no responsibility. Good luck. You're going to be making license plates.
So can we look at, is there something going on in his finances? So can we look at his finances or financial connections?
Remind me his name again, so I've got it in my mind.
Dustin Thompson. Dustin. Dustin Thompson. Let me go here.
Dusty may have been visiting the donut shop too many times.
The donuts made me do it, Your Honor.
Got a little powder on his nose. Thank you, Margaret.
There it is again, whole new deck.
There's an investigation into his money. He's trapped in the middle of it. Gifts of money. Is it possible some of the financing for this came from overseas?
Funny you should say that.
'Cause I'm getting like overseas and my Russia card, like some of the gifts of money that came in to help finance this. And he took the money and ran. There's collusion, working together, and dark money. It's getting investigated though. King of Wands. And it's like all the wealth is in Trump. Lots of money. There's lots of money there. What you all getting?
What you get, Lena?
Well, mine kicked off with the World card, so I think, and then the 8 of Pentacles. So I think it was overseas money, and they were commissioning not just him. I think there's more people than him to be the foot soldiers.
His organization, so to speak.
Yeah. And some sort of mini training or something with the apprentice thing, something about kitting them out or something like that. And he was happy enough to go in with his sword raised or his pipe or whatever he had. And now, it's not going to be good. But I think overseas money, yeah.
I get first the 3 of Pentacles and the 8 of Wands.
Ah,
I wonder if he has a business or an LLC, even if it's not like a actual physical place. Like there's money coming into him, and it might be a bit of a laundering type thing, where he may be the stash point for some money, and so
coming through Bitcoin or something.
he's got it coming in. Now there's my foreign leaders, and there's also the 4 of Swords. He doesn't actually do anything. So it's like he has some sort of little shell thing set up, or some sort of little pot you can just throw money into. But they're hiring him for his services, but he doesn't do anything. So I don't know if he's got a plumbing company that he doesn't do any plumbing for, or whatever the case may be. But he's got some sort of little side hustle, but he doesn't do things.
It's funny you should say that, because the breakdown now of these 700 odd guys who've been pulled in is virtually half of them not only are in work, but they own small businesses and stuff. They're many employers. So it's an interesting profile that's so high, and no one expected that. They all thought they'd be the, young gangbusters,
And I got that 7 of Swords in the environment. So this all this stuff here is theft. It's a scheme of some sort. And so he doesn't do anything for the money, but it looks specialized. So I don't know if he's got like I said, I don't know if he's got a plumbing business or some sort of something that he looks like he's a specialized person for, and he's being hired. So there's money coming into him, but it sits there for specific reasons. And then the 7 of Swords, but it's a scheme and a scam. This will be found out, though, because there's an investigation by some sort of governmental agency here. The Sun and the Hierophant. The Chariot, now this does move slow. So, by Christmas, we may hear something. But also, there's information in the stars, which means it's in the cloud. So there is information in his downloads, in his phones, and his all that stuff. Because again, they're not actually physically going to a shop and paying him $200 to go do plumbing. This is wired in from somewhere. So these people, Jesus, I can't. It is so easy to live a simple life, I guarantee you. Okay, enough of him. We'll go on the same vein. Donald Trump called Mitch McConnell an old crow. That's the best you can do.
Yeah, really?
Oh, you hurt him little feelings. I'm pretty sure you hurt him little feelings. But Mike Pence has come out and says that Donald Trump was wrong for trying to get him to overthrow the election or overturn the election results. He said the election belongs to the American people, even though you did call a few people to see how you could do this. So, I mean, Mike Pence, anyway, we won't even go there. Mike Pence
took a whole year to come up with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't rush into anything, Mike Pence, does he?
So Mike Pence and Mitch McConnell are the latest on the GOP to turn on Donald Trump. It looks like there's a theme. Will this theme continue is my question, or more of them turning away from him? That way they can sort of have an excuse for ousting him in the general election.
There's a few
For the primaries,
like reps also that are pissed off because they censured Liz Cheney and Kissinger. There's just a handful that are getting a little, and Mitt Romney, said something about it. Like this is
George Bush is raising money for those who are being targeted for voting for, what is it, the impeachment or something like that. So it's like you got the GOP versus the weird GOP.
GQP.
GOP. Yeah, GQP.
Mother made him say it.
She probably grabbed him by the ear and everything, probably.
Apparently, the fly on the wall flew to his head and told him, "Hey, they got a lot of stuff on Trump. You better save your own butt."
and that's the thing too. Why wouldn't you? because
Do the
that's
right
what he's doing. He just said, if one of my kids got to go to jail, make sure it's not Ivanka. Basically, I'm not going to jail if one of them got to do it. Because mind you,
Yeah,
they're breaking
that's
the
right.
law for you.
Even Lindsay said something last week that kind of like, you know, like
Oh,
you stayed away from
yeah.
Trump. So
Yeah, it was something very soft by normal standards, but in Trump land,
yeah,
yeah.
Lord Jesus.
are there going to be more that pull away from the
Well,
Trump?
continue. Because they can't repeat that again. They'll never win another election ever with somebody like that.
Mm.
He cheated. He tried to get fake electors, literally threw votes in the trash and still lost.
Yeah.
They couldn't. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, what can you say?
That's bad. You know you got to suck if they literally threw votes away and you still lost. It's like,
You did recounts and lost by more.
I lost the recount.
It's like, let me do recounts in all these states, and they keep finding more votes for Biden.
For the other person.
I was like, come on, do some more recounts.
Biden should have said, hey, I'll give you $10. You do some more. Oh, God.
So this is the Republican Party's legacy. It's breaking apart. It is just breaking apart. There's some that are trapped and stuck with Trump. There's some that'll separate out and go their own way. But it all comes down to the money and fighting over the donors. It's all about the money, and steady money. That's what drives them. So yeah, there'll be more. And I get they get behind a woman. The ones that are pulling away from Trump.
You got that last time, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've had a bad feeling about Nikki Haley for about 4 years, because she presents well. You know what I mean? To the Republican gaze. Sarah Palin with a brain, so she's a threat.
I'd rather see Sarah Palin. It'd be so much fun on Saturday Night Live.
Totally. Oh, look, I think mine kick off with the false knight here. This is the Toth deck. It's hard to know who's false to who and all of that. I think rather than false knight in this case, it might be Trojan horse. I think the GOP is just a shell now, and people have to work out where they sit inside it. It may astonish you to know it's all about the money. Yes, I know. A revelation. You heard it here first. Money. Look, you know. Okay. Then I get the deep, dark failure. I think it's the failure to actually pull it back together. They've always been good at presenting united front. That's been their ultimate strength, and they just can't do that anymore. It is a schism. It is a split. They're trying to work with each other on some. I think the McConnells and the old guard political ones are trying to work together to pull out from the fire what is left of the GOP. But it's not going to work because they divide their own vote by whatever they do from here. And so then there's the Eon card or the strength. I think in the future they might reinvent themselves, or one of the two factions will improve. But I think in our 0 to 5 years, I don't see how they could pull it back together now.
It's all about money, and it's all about they know a lot of people are going down in this committee investigation, and with Department of Justice, they got to detach from him before they all go
the
down.
Lindsey Grahams and the McConnells and those seasoned campaigners, they know that this isn't going to end well. Whereas the Madison Cawthorns and the MJTs and all of that, I mean, they're just new to the whole game. They don't realise the cycles of it. And
Lindsay's
so
the
they're
biggest fish
they're
that
just bombing it.
flip flops
Mhm.
like he's on
Yeah.
sand, just about to die. I'm in bed with Trump, and Trump's a narcissist and a this and a that, and
Yeah.
he's
Ted
the worst.
Cruz
You get,
insulted
Johnie.
your wife, your father, your grandfather, your cousins, your dog, everything. Oh, let me go campaign for him.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to no, I still don't like you. The end. Like I get the Ace of Wands and the Four of Wands. Yes, a new action to have some success with the GOP. So yes, more people will, because they need to lure back with the Knight of Cups. They need to say the right things, the romance, so that they can have the party again. With that money, they do need those donors, the people who have been sort of a little gun shy because of the Donald Trumps of the world. So here they are trying to establish new governmental connections. So yes, they are. And mind you, you don't get credit, first of all, for turning on Donald Trump, because he was a plague and a virus on you in the first place.
Mhm.
But
How
now
many
that he
voted to impeach him? Was it 8?
and that's my other thing. It's like you had the option. Nancy gave it to you to get rid of him.
Mm.
And then you could have had Pence, and then you could have literally had everything you wanted.
Yeah, because he's a marshmallow. You could have done whatever you wanted to do.
But no, leave the idiot in there. That way we have to now try to clean up every time he says something stupid, because the media can't help itself because they got to carry it all the time. Anyway, that's your problem. Your monkey, your circus. Well, speaking of wish lists, let's go. Let's jump here. Bill 666. Since we were talking about the devil, let's keep on going. They're in Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Bill 666.
Let me get the Toth deck back out.
Yeah. Under the current law, the defendant has the burden to prove he or she reasonably believed physical or deadly force was necessary to protect him or herself of a third person. So basically, it's legalized murder, or as they call it now, legalized lynching, because the burden is then put on the police to prove that you weren't trying to defend yourself.
Yes.
Or if you happen to be brown, the burden's on you to prove that you did it trying to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. And not just
Good luck.
And they had people from the clergy and the churches and everything come out and say, this bill is bad, do not pass it. But you know who's pushing for it that testified on behalf of it? Mr. McCluskey, the neighbor, the white guy that stood in his front yard with his wife with the guns pointed at the Black Lives Matter protesters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He wants this bill big time. So is it going to pass?
666 bill.
666, aptly named 666 bill, mark of the beast. I listened to audio of the testifying or debating on it, and it was like, oh my God, this is painful to listen to.
people, Jesus. The world would be all right if it wasn't for humans, I swear.
Yeah, really.
I mean, it's like they might as well call it the Rittenhouse bill. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what's driving it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
The George Zimmerman Rittenhouse bill.
Mm-hmm.
Will I start, Johnie?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, I had a bit of a panic with my first card. The Four of Wands, completion. And I thought, oh, my heart just sank,
I had 10 of cups in my first.
But the next cards made me feel better. You have here the Three of Swords followed by the Eight of Cups, and that to me is saying they're not going to get their wish. although there are people backing this, I think some middle of the road people still manage to instinctively know when they see a dog of a bill, and it is a dog of a bill. And the universe, they're not going to stop trying. You know, I don't think this one will get up, but they'll probably keep, at it.
Yeah, I get dissatisfaction, but then I got the bully card. So I thought, are they going to push this through? I get its burden. They'll have to move away from it. They'll have to transition it somehow. There's too much judgment on the image that it's putting out there. So I get they're out in the cold on this, but I do get they'll rather quickly come up with another way to disguise it. It's making people too emotional. So the way it is right now, it's not going to pass. And I feel like corporate money is like even saying no, like, security forces at Walmart, they don't want this.
I get the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles. Gaining support is very hard for this, actually. Yes, you can get the loudmouths, but you need the numbers behind it too. That's out of balance. Now, mind you, it resurges. There is more support for it still.
Yeah, I got that resurgence vibe.
It's like just because it fails doesn't mean it goes away. They just try.
Exactly. Exactly.
People.
How are we going for questions here?
So now we go to the next bill. So we got a lot of requests for this one. I did a reading already on this. If you two want to throw cards on the Equal Rights Amendment.
Oh, I just watched your video on that earlier.
Will it pass? Will it become part of the Constitution? Basically,
it's got enough states to ratify it, but they're past the deadline. But they could still ratify it to codifying it. What is the word?
Codifying, yeah.
Codifying.
I looked up some info too. It was first drafted in 1923.
Well, there you go. I was just about to say this has been a long time in the mix.
It was passed in 1972 when 38 states voted for it, but then the deadline hit and some of them backed out, and so then it lapsed.
Virginia was the last state to.
And it's for the equal rights for women and things of that nature. And there's a woman back then who was against it. Named Phyllis Schlafly, something like that, Schlafly. She was against it. She was a conservative, so she was more concerned with being a conservative than a woman. So that's fine. You do you.
She probably had a stinky fly head too.
Yeah. She's at home raising the children while hubby's out having an affair. Yeah, go on.
She said the reason she was against it is because it would end. She might be clutching her pearls somewhere. She said the reason she was against it is because it would have same-sex marriages, or it would lead to same-sex marriages, which
we have.
Which she said it will also lead to women in combat, which
this is hilarious, yeah.
And gender-neutral bathrooms, which we call family bathrooms now.
The scandal, there's the trifecta.
So she was against it because it would cause all those things, she said.
How funny. Sally's just said, if Trump's name belongs on anything, it should be a jail, and then he'd be able to have registered guests. Coming soon. You're not a felon, you're a registered guest. So the ERA, yeah, you just forget how many decades go past without these being passed.
Mm-hmm.
I get a no. And it's interesting because I have the Three of Cups on the bottom, like maybe some support for it or whatever. But I think it may be about same-sex marriage and stuff like that. Like equal rights for gays. Like, no, that's not an option. I get no's. They may transition into writing a new bill. but I get no's, no's, no's. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, mine's like the reverse of my last spread, where I got what I thought was the bad card first. This I've got the good card first, and I thought, woo, off we go with the star. You know, maybe after 80 years, people can get their heads around it. But no, because there's so much information. This is the Seven of Cups, confusion, delusion. So much misinformation out there around it, what it'll mean, you know. Your 5-year-old can be married in the backyard or something. I mean, I don't know what they think it'll be, but they don't like it. They just don't like it. Women are not happy and go back to the drawing board. Then I get temperance. And in this deck, it's an interesting image. Balancing water while you climb the mountain. It's like, oh, here we go again. You know, for all these issues, there's still a mountain to climb.
This is why I said that kind of drives me crazy. We lived in 50 different countries under one.
Yeah.
So let's go to, where was it at? Oh, the Canada protests. Will it spread?
Go to my regular cards for that. Will it spread?
They were aiming at, what was it, Quebec and one other place.
The truck driver protests.
Yeah.
A lot of American truck drivers have driven up.
GoFundMe has suspended the
Yeah.
account that was supposed to be funding some of them.
And then we'll hear, you watch in 2 weeks or something, we'll hear that who ran off with the money.
Yeah.
Ottawa. Yeah, that was the other place.
I thought they were in Ottawa. I don't want to go to Quebec. I think there's a lot of mysterious things happening with this. So I've got the King of Cups on top, normally Biden, but I think in this case Trudeau, although it looks a bit older than Trudeau, but let's just say for the sake of the conversation, the leader is the King of Cups. So the Nine of Cups and the High Priestess. So there's money that's being hidden. And I think this is important because in answer to the question, will it expand? There's energy for it to expand. And there'd be a lot of enthusiasm for it. But it's whether or not the sneakiness around this money, donated money, will determine whether it does or not, because the actual strikers themselves or protesters would be well put to hold on to their money. So I think it's gone now from the emotion of the issue to the behind the scenes. And will that get exposed in time to sort of make a difference? Yeah.
I get a big no card on the bottom, betrayal. The caravan is getting thin because they're depending on donations and they need to be tempering themselves. There's the devil involved, of course, but they walk away. there may be some protests, but they're smaller. It's like you're sacrificing yourself, like your income. You're sacrificing your own wealth. There'll be a lot of conversations I get, but I get a no, because it comes down to the family income, and they start thinking about this. They need the money, so the corporations ultimately, I think, are going to have the power. You want to get paid, get vaccinated.
Yeah.
I get the Death and the Knight of Swords. There is an ending to chaos, or an ending to chaotic energy at the very least here. This is not immediate, however. The Eight of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, there is some sort of talk about money. This is also an ongoing conversation about money. So this is going to take weeks, and this is actually going to be in the media in the forefront. So you're going to hear about whatever that conversation is. There is a new group, however, with the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Wands, that is going to cause some sort of burden as well. Because now they're saying, even Ford is saying, this is not a protest, this is an occupation, because you have occupied a space and we can't move here or there because you're basically occupying this area. But there's going to be another one to come in and cause some sort of issue, some sort of blockade, some sort of protest. This takes a while. With the Temperance, it does get better, or at the very least, the chaos dies down, like I said, but it takes a while with the Temperance card. Temperance is about healing, but it's sobriety type thing, so it takes a while. It takes work. So this is not going to be an easy fix, and I think in particular truckers may move on, but some other little group is coming in right behind them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Didn't this go on in New Zealand as well, where they had an anti-lockdown protest in New Zealand, where they were protesting the lockdown?
Yeah.
It's like this is going to keep going, because the vaccinations they're not going to stop asking you to be vaccinated. In certain places, they're not going to stop locking you down. So this type of thing is going to keep going too. So.
And I also think in countries with high vaccination, like New Zealand and Australia, they will relent pretty soon. Jacinda Ardern will. She was talking originally about October, and now she's talking about now. So she is listening to people. And if you've got 80 to 90% vaxxed, I think my general feel is it's time to move on to living with the virus as opposed to running from it,
Mm-hmm.
And encourage people. Maybe you don't have to mandate, but encourage, and if they just get sick of being tested a lot or something.
Yeah. There's a hospital here. That's your alternative. You either test negative every day, or you get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Then the one my brother works for, it's you either get vaccinated or you get suspended until you get vaccinated. They don't fire you.
Yeah,
but
okay.
you depend on how much money you lose. You can come back and be vaccinated and just move on with your life. Which, I mean, okay, if you work in the hospital around everything in the world, then you might want to. But anyway, I'll be a little slight petty here. Donald Trump is releasing, or it may have been already, his social media platform called Truth Social.
Oh, we've all been waiting for that event, haven't we? Oh, what am I going to wear?
It had a very horrible debut. So how will this go for Truth Social? Will it be short-lived? Will it lose money, or is it just what? What can you tell me about Truth Social? Will it be successful? You Google it, it says founder is Donald Trump.
All his own work.
Truth Social, founded by Donald Trump. Which is
and
also
what's
a lie.
His face has gone to look over at what Nunes. Thank you, Sue, for truthful. Cold Toe says, I'm sure he means alternate truth.
Definitely.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. How funny.
As a tarot reader, you do like spreads like this where all the cards, you don't have to think too hard.
Yeah.
Thanks. Truth Social.
Oh,
He just
Well,
wants his
launch.
Twitter back.
That's it.
you want to go, Jen?
No, go ahead, Lena.
You go ahead, Lena.
Okay. Look, it kicks off with the Hierophant, which says to me, this has been rushed ahead and there's going to be some actual legal problems in its basic fundamental structure hanging over its head from day one. However, the Yeti, as the King of Pentacles, doesn't care because fame is money for him, both literally and it's oxygen for him. You know, just having the idea of money gets him up in the morning. You know, he's so short term, there's going to be those who like it. What can you do? You know, he has still got supporters, but I think they'll be bored out of their brains. But anyway, I think it'll have a flurry at the beginning, but not very big because the compromise is here. See, he likes to make money, but he's not so good on spending it. So it's like the production values are like what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of, I get this feeling that it's going to be starved of real money and real talent where it's needed to be a successful project. And that would be because no one knows what they are doing, because by definition, he only picks his new best friend. And they might have been selling pool filters until last week, so he'll put them in charge of marketing. You know how he does.
That's what
So
he does.
that's what the problem will be. And it'll be very messy, the moon. And we won't see the worst of it, which is a bit of a shame. Yes. I'd love to see it unfold, but I don't think it's going to be around in a year's time.
Yeah, I get Two of Swords, like maybe blocked or something in the future. It's like-minded people listening to the liar. I do think they'll get it launched, but there's a hidden agenda behind it. We all know it's a grift. But moving forward, I get like it's going to give birth to more court cases. Like, okay, go here. Thank you, Linda. Go here to find the rioters. Go here to get more information of what Trump is saying that'll put a nail in his coffin, because he tells on himself. Just go to social, what's it called?
Truth Social.
Truth Social. It's going to be a lot of emotional people in an isolated vacuum, so it's a whatever. He's going to act like it's doing well. He's going to be like, oh, it's great. But I don't have any pentacles here. I have cups cards. It's all emotion. And that's going to run out. It's Seven of Swords. It's just it's a grift.
Yeah. And wouldn't it be great if Tucker Cossack Carlson moved over to that platform and then just died a natural death in that field instead of being on air?
So it starts with the King of Swords. So that is about him. Now, I get the Fool when it's talking about him personally, and then him when it's in his orbit. The King of Swords is how he pops up for me. So there is something. No, excuse me. the app itself, or the Truth Social, the whole thing, the media company, because it's being founded by Trump and Trump Media Company, is what it said. That entire thing, of course, is just for his financial benefit. It's set up for that specific reason.
Yeah.
But it's not meant to hold money. It's meant to give him money. So it's not meant to make any. There's the 5 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords. There's a theft in missing money. So it's almost like you would think if you started a business, that business needs to be worth a lot of money, and that way it can be stable, and then you take your dividend. No, it's like 100% in, 100% out. And then you can claim bankruptcy a year later.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it's meant to, he's just meant to steal. That's
social media is all based on advertising. Like, whatever, who's going to go on there and advertise on his thing?
Mr. My Pillow.
My pillow. Okay, he's got one person that would pay for advertising.
He has a very rough relationship. It gets a little better, though, with the Hierophant and the Temperance. Again, though, these people's money, the 7 of Pentacles, has been seeded into this corporation because they think that this is supposed to be something I can build on and build with. But again, money in, money out, 100% in, 100% out. And this is set up for scamming purposes. So a year from now, it'll be shut down, but he'll have all the money.
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what's
But
it.
then
And
the
somebody
IRS,
else will be on the hook for any of the bills.
the IRS can audit him again, because hopefully by that time New York's got him in a sling over financing.
Yeah, true. Here's an important comment, and I have heard this from other people too. The truck organisers were a separatist group, Wexit, from Western Canada, who scammed truckers and pretended they were anti-vaxxers, and their goal was to overthrow the government. And then there were the anti-vaxxers, but I think, you know, any big rally like that's going to attract hard right, far right.
Well, it was interesting because I saw a lot of interviews with truckers up there that were saying, yes, we need to get vaccinated. So
they have a high rate of Canadian truckies have a high, you say truckers, we say truckies here, have a high rate of vaccination because they wanted to feed their families, and very early on they complied because they could see we're traveling, we need it.
yeah.
So this only started as a small percentage. But it looks spectacular, and they are holding up food going in and out.
Speaking of travel, the travel industry, not just planes, but travel industry, period, has spoken to the White House and asked them to drop the mandate that you test negative before you fly into the United States. They asked the Biden administration to drop the mandate that a person has to test negative before they fly back into the United States or travel back into the United States. They said it would increase travel, thus helping the travel industry get back on its feet. And so will the Biden administration allow this to lapse? That way you don't have to test negative before you come back to the U.S.
Well, it makes no sense to require foreign visitors to have to test negative if they're not also going to test American citizens when they're coming back.
Thank you, Jenn. My brain was just caving in with this concept of I'm American, therefore I can't have COVID.
They're on the
Or
same
whatever it
plane.
means.
If the COVID is on the plane, they're all going to have it.
You don't have to be vaxxed, but you should have to have a very recent negative test. Is basic stuff, I would have thought, but there we go. Oh, well, this is easy. No, I don't think Biden will agree to it because for 2 reasons. One is the rest of the world thinks it's the most stupid idea that anyone's come up with. And leaders anywhere, even if they're no matter what their position of severity or slackness about it is, no one thinks this is a good idea after you've had 200 people in a closed air circuit. So leaders everywhere, no one else is proposing this, is what I'm trying to say. It's a burden either way, right? Because we live with this burden. But I think the takeaway for me, I'd just add to that, Biden's worked so hard on this issue. I could see another president maybe going for it, but not Biden. It would undermine everything else he's been doing, you know.
And I think this started, I think I read that. It started under Donald Trump, requiring
Well, that
people
would
to
make
take leave.
infinitely more sense.
I was going to say, because I got my King of Swords
I
here.
believe it started
Did
under
this
him.
start under Trump? And that's his legacy that he left us with, one of them.
Yeah, another burden.
There's murky beginnings there. But there's a dissatisfaction with this law. So I don't know. It's being discussed and tossed around, but I get a no, and then I get some positive cards like yes. So
Yeah.
it's going to come down to our image and how we want to be seen, and by travelers coming in. So I don't know. He may break it. He may break this executive order or whatever it is.
Mm.
Only if I get, yes, it's being discussed, and with the Three of Cups, there is an aspect, though, of these in particular businesses have lobbies. And so they can get such a thing at least to be discussed. They can get such a thing at least to maybe even make it to a table or two. The power still lies within the government or the person at the top of the government. But the foreign travel here is still going to be an issue, because just because you don't like it doesn't mean COVID went away. So you still need to take your precautions, unless he wants, because mind you, this is his problem now. Under Donald Trump, it was, the worst thing in the world because it started under him. But this is Biden's problem now. Not only that, but the numbers are his problem now too. So whatever it is you need to do to curb such a thing, this is why he's sending out tests. You can get tests for free. You can get masks for free. He wants to control the numbers. And so I don't think he will overturn this if he wants to control those numbers too at the same time.
Well, there are issues with all the flight attendants and stuff that are catching it, causing canceled flights because they don't have enough people to work the airlines.
Yeah.
But speaking of airlines, we'll do one more here. Delta Airlines is asking the Department of Justice to create a no-fly list for unruly passengers, people who like to spit on the flight attendants and hit them because you were asked to wear a mask.
All the devils.
So you will completely, either you will act right or you will drive everywhere for the rest of your life.
Okay, Nelson was saying her employer made vaccines and booster shots mandatory. My co-workers didn't get it, and I got all the shifts. So I went from being a nobody to employee of the month. Okay.
And basically, since 9/11, you can't create a ruckus on a plane. They're going to arrest your butt.
Although there's a million videos out there of people behaving really badly and really abusively.
Yeah, my one of my neighbors is a flight attendant for United, and she is like, we just land the plane in close to whatever city we're near and have them hauled off.
Yeah,
have them arrested.
And then everybody else on the plane is now have an extra long flight because you had to act like a donkey.
Yeah, at least they're going to probably serve some jail time. But yeah, put them on a no-fly list so they can't ever fly again. Keep them off the planes.
It could be something they introduce. I've got an agreement coming up here. At the end of the day, it is a workplace for flight attendants and pilots and stuff. But there might be a sliding scale. So you get a warning and you can't fly for a year, 2 offences and it's life, or something, break it up into 2 bites of the cherry,
Mhm.
and then they might do it. I don't think they'll do it as it is, but I think there'll be a bit of reworking here with the lovers on the agreement, and then people will be happy with the outcome, because it doesn't matter what they're performing about, people don't like it on planes. It's not so.
Oh, good God. Southwest Airlines is beginning to serve alcohol in the plane again. Please don't.
Oh, God.
Miss Lady, Peggy Breen is in the chat. This is who made this shirt. I definitely won't judge you. I got one.
It's a great shirt.
And somebody else asked, I guess, because they didn't understand. This is what Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton. So this was why I wanted this on my shirt.
Oh, Lordy, Lordy.
So I have the working together card on the bottom, and there is an opportunity here to put these people out in the cold, put them on a list, whatever, the unbalanced ones. And I get it would be like a steady list. But like when they present anything legally, when they present a structure to it, I get like everybody sleeps on it. And it might die like, in the house or something. It gets nowhere. And I get because the losers, Republicans, don't want it. They want to get away with stuff that Trump did, and they don't care if they burden the airlines. They don't care who's burdened.
They don't care about any of it. I think one of the problems that it's got is what constitutes bad or unacceptable behavior, right? Because people's thresholds are different.
Yeah, if it's refusing to put a mask on, if they put one on to get on the plane, and they take it off once they're on the plane, then pull them off.
I say so. Like, here's the thing. Just get on the plane, sit down, shut up, land, get off, go find you some business. All this extra stuff, stop it. Like, stop fighting with the flight attendants. Quit complaining about everything. Just get where you need to go, and because you don't have wings, so you can't do it yourself. So that's why you bought a ticket to sit on the plane and have someone fly you there. Just do it and be done with it.
If you don't want to follow the rules, get in your car and drive wherever you're trying to go.
And good luck getting to Hawaii by car.
Train your dolphin and hitch a ride or something. I don't know. I get the King of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles. As is, I think, as Lena said, maybe not so much. But it is being bandied about. And eventually we will have a very big change. This will actually be a big deal, I think, when it is introduced with the Death card. It's a major change in the Eight of Cups, because this is going to be, at some point, beyond ridiculous that you hit a flight attendant. That you hit anybody, first of all, but that you hit a flight attendant who asked you to put your mask on. Or that you got up and you wanted to curse them out because they asked you to put the mask on, even though you know you were supposed to beforehand, before you even got on the plane.
That's
and
right.
you have to sign that thing. Well, click on that thing. Terms and agreements with every flight, always have had to. Do you agree with our policies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's always an asshole that has to get on there and get attention, and they think they look great, and everybody else on the plane is like, shut up, sit down, we're trying to get where we're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here with the Hermit is how it ends. Yes, some people will be isolated and searching for alternatives. I was just, actually, this is quite interesting, maybe a little synchronicity. I was just looking at an article talking about the largest birds on the world, or in the world. The pelican, it's a specific type of pelican, is the largest one that can fly. The ostrich is huge too, but the largest one that can fly. So maybe you can jump in its jaw, the big jaw.
A little hammock seat.
And it'll carry you to Fort Lauderdale.
Deliver you just like a baby.
Otherwise,
we can send you some to raise over there. We have the biggest everything.
So before we go, my new favorite person.
Who? I'm intrigued.
One-eyed Elmer Stewart Rhodes. You'll shoot your eye out. Elmer Stewie Rhodes. Teaching his training class how to handle a gun safely. Boom. Not like that.
Who was disbarred. He used to be a lawyer. He was disbarred. So he's been a winner for a very long time. He was disbarred like in the 90s too, I think.
Yeah. Gopher man with all his tunnels in his yard.
So
Oh dear.
he had a rental house that he was staying in. And he, in the backyard, dug a bunch of tunnels. I don't know where he
And
was
they were
going.
serious tunnels.
Yes.
Right. We're
I
not
don't
talking
know
little
where he was
funny tunnels.
going. Where are you going?
I'm just going out to tunnel another 8 yards at the back.
Jesus Christ. All he needs is to hit a gas line and blow himself up. Like, thank you, Marie. But what
He only
why
has
not?
one eye, so like I know, like if I only look through one eye, I'm a little lopsided. So I'm thinking those tunnels go like at the wrong angles.
Like a tic-tac-toe board or something.
Yeah. Like if you shoot a gun, you're not supposed to squint an eye because it'll make you pull the wrong way. So
What does his landlord think of his little hamster pet project in the back? I guess he's like human-sized ant farm. So it's like he got little tunnels.
Possibly creating some sinkholes, but interesting that little one-eyed Stewie Rhodes testified on Groundhog Day from jail to the January 6th committee.
Yeah.
The tunnel digger.
There's going to be a First Wives Club after this. How many of these guys have been handed in by ex-wives and girlfriends?
Well, it's just sad to me that she had 5 kids with him. Did you not know who he was, by kid number 1 or 2? Like,
well, she might have married the law student with a lot of promise, and then she ended up with the maniac.
She ended up with Gopher Man. Digging his tunnels everywhere.
What's happening to Gopher Man?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
And didn't you say, Johnny, this wasn't the first house he dug tunnels at? There was
Lena said that he did it before.
Yeah, no, he's done it before.
So he's got several rental homes with tunnels.
Maybe he was trying to go from one to the other. That's what. I'm just. You sitting at home in your backyard, your feet up, you listen to your transistor radio with your glass of lemonade, and up pokes a one-eyed man in your backyard, and you're thinking, "What is in this lemonade?"
And you got to play whack-a-mole on your neighbor popping up out of the ground.
There's a man in my yard, but only his head. I can't. Oh, so what did his landlord think of such a thing? He has a whole. I don't even know.
Now it's been exposed. It's a different ball game, right? Before, the landlord probably would have either not known. You're not out there when tenants move out. You don't immediately go, I'll just see if they've put a network of tunnels in the backyard. He might not have known. Whereas now he knows, or she knows, and his previous property. So he's going to try and walk away from this because he's now in big trouble with other things. But the 5 of Cups, they're not prepared to wear the loss. And so I think he's going to be charged quite a bit of money to safely, what do you call filling in tunnels? Remediate tunnels.
To get a backhoe in there to put dirt
Okay,
in
yeah.
underground, you know.
Yeah, it's not actually that easy to do it properly, you know.
Well, it is his ex-wife said, or estranged wife, I should say. She was always worried the kids would get lost in them because they were so extensive. Because the kids would go down and play at them, and always worried she'd lose a kid in the tunnel.
Goodness.
Oh my God.
They were pretty extensive. Yeah, there's going to be some money involved here. And it's a good thing little Stewie's locked up in jail because he's going to get burdened again by the court systems from the landlord because he's got the authority, the right over this home. So, yeah, look for, another lawyer coming in. Look for more information coming out about this also. Because I get this is definitely going to court. He's got another fight on his hands and trying to see what kind of treasure they can dig up in the yard or where they can dig up money because he doesn't have any. I get like the landlord has to walk away because the guy doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
Someone wanted to know the deck you were using. Callie's kid. So what deck you were using, Lena?
I can't remember already. Was it
That one that you emailed me about? That's the one.
Oh yeah. Oh, the artist's name is R Black, and they're called the R Black deck, and they're very nice. I like the imagery. I'll just warn you because he's producing them himself. They're small. And they're just like cardboard. They're not on slick paper, but I quite like them. I
The
think
artwork's
they're
nice.
interesting.
And you're supporting
Black.
the artist instead of some distribution company.
Yeah, that's right. Look him up online, contact him, and he'll send you the things. Wow.
I got bad news with the page of swords, two of swords. There's something negative. There's something about the tunnels themselves that might spell a complication for either filling it in or getting rid of whatever it is. There's something in there or with there or something. I don't know if he probably got the navigation skills of Christopher Columbus or something, and he might have gone to somebody else's yard. I don't know, but there's something wrong with the tunnels themselves.
Yeah.
They all go one direction.
Be booby trapped.
I mean,
That's
it could
how
be.
these guys
Because
think.
there's some sort of contraption with the magician and the three of swords. He reminds me of some weird. I'm playing army in my backyard, and I'm not in an actual war.
Yeah.
And that speaks to his disturbed mentality, of course.
Crawling along in his tunnels.
I mean, and so far, the only person he's managed to shoot is himself. So you're doing a good job.
Keep up the good work, Pet.
So thank y'all for joining us here on this Sunday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lena, for joining us as well.
Oh, no, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
So we're going to go. I need to go raid the kitchen, I think. So.
And I thought I was reading with Jenn next week, but wrong Jen.
Well, set something up. Do you mean you always can, right? Thank you, Miss Lady.
We'll be on my channel next week with Adrian from Red Lentil Healing. Is
Yes.
joining us next week.
Oh, how cool is that? She's great.
She's fun.
So thank y'all, moderators. Definitely thank you for
thanks,
keeping us
heaps.
clean and all that good stuff. And we will see y'all on Jen Lynn's channel next week. And I will see y'all Friday at 7:30 on Sienna's channel.
And
Y'all have a
tomorrow
good
morning at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Central Time on Jody Roberts' channel.
On Jody Roberts' channel.
Bye.
Y'all have a good night.